Johnny! It's now time to answer that age-old question, how did Johnny Arcade become a Rick and Morty fan? It started one day, long ago, when... Oh, we don't have that footage? No? Okay. So one day, my son and I were out, and he's like, "Hey Dad, get this DVD." I'm like, "Well, what's that, son?" It's like Adventure Time, all those shows like that, just for an older audience. So as I was cleaning the house one day, lo and behold, I heard this.
Put them way up inside your butt.
The fuck did he just say?
Put them way up inside your butt, up inside your butt, your butt, your butt.
Needless to say, I needed to sit down and watch this show immediately, knowing that my son watched this. And well, as you can see, I became hooked. So now, out of the 3 seasons, I've decided to do, that's right, Johnny Arcade's 12-pack Rick and Morty moments. So let's crack this case open. Biatch! Number 12. So the first one on the list would have to be the pilot. I mean, we wouldn't even have the series if it wasn't for the pilot. And the opening alone gave you an idea of how the series was going to work. Not to mention we're introduced to the spaceship, the portal gun, and of course all the different gadgets Rick's invented. But of course the portal gun has died, and Rick and Morty have to sneak across a intergalactic portal, and Rick needs him to... Of course the plan doesn't work, and Rick and Morty are forced to run their way to the intergalactic portal. Rick throws Morty a gun and tells him to fight them off. Morty, with no choice, fights them off. Will they make it home? You'll have to find out. Number 11. So in this episode, aliens kidnap Jerry, Morty, and Rick. And Rick's not falling for it. So he follows Morty to school to see what's going on. Meanwhile, Jerry's got his own thing going on with apples, if you recall. Rick figures out a way to try to fool the computer by causing it to over-glitch with everything, which does lead to them escaping into outer space and heading home. Once arriving home, Rick runs to his safe to get to his weapons, only to find out that it's not the right password. That can't be. Well, no, it turns out that he was fooled and never got off the ship in the first place. The aliens come in to gloat, only to rub it in Rick's face, and again they trick him again. Only this time it turns out Morty is fake, like he suspected all along. Getting fed up with the aliens, rubbing it in his face, he tells them a formula that they believe is for, well, it doesn't matter because he outsmarted them. And we end with Jerry and Rick heading home in the spaceship for the end. Number 10. So in this episode, Morty finally decides to make his move. It doesn't go so smooth as he's interrupted, so he goes to his father for love advice, but in classic Rick form, he interrupts. Desperate, Morty goes to Rick for some help in making a potion, so he uses some DNA and fluid to make a special serum. Once Morty applies that serum to Jessica, she trips out. The only problem is because of her cold and flu, everyone else trips out because it's contagious. Everyone goes wild for Morty as he tries to get away. Reconnecting with Rick, Rick exposes that he's come out with an antidote. As they take off into the sky, they unleash the antidote over everyone in hopes that it will cure them. But of course it doesn't. Back in the garage, we have Rick and Morty finishing up their project from earlier. Morty hands Rick the screwdriver as they feel successful from their adventure, only to have everything literally blow up in their face. Is it the end? I don't know. You'll have to find out. Number 9. Coming in at number 9 would be Rick's D Minutes. When they do... Well, here, Rick, why don't you explain it?
I thought you'd never ask. We just upgraded our cable package with programming from every conceivable reality.
And watch from every conceivable reality they do. How do you say that? Also, Morty exposes to Summer that he's not from there. Number 8. So we start this episode open with Jerry's brother visiting when Rick walks in. Not too happy that the brother is visiting and making a fool of him, Rick decides to take him out. Only to expose that they're actually memory parasites. Now, there is far too much in this episode that happens. So I will tell you this. Rick confirms that there's 6, but so many more people come into play. and it gets chaotic and confusing. It's a great episode of memories and flashbacks. Sorry, false memories and flashbacks. With space running out, they finally figure out how to take out certain people. And to figure that out, you'll have to watch the episode yourself. But once they figure it out, so begins a great shootout through the house and the whole family. No, not the Mr. Poopy Butthole scene. You can't do this to me again. Please, no. Beth, why would you shoot Mr. Poopy Butthole? He's just a great guy. That's all it is. He was just a great guy. Number 7. This one starts off with Rick teaching Morty how to...
Still use south in space? Whoa, Jesus, Jerry, what the hell are you doing here?
Well, doing a flight lesson. Rick, forgetting that Jerry is with him, he takes him to a daycare for Jerrys. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes because of all the Jerrys. Now back to Rick and Morty doing the flying lesson. They meet up with Chromopulous Mike to sell a weapon. So they can go to Blips and Chips. However, Morty's not happy with it. The fact that Rick sold weapons and dropped Jerry off at a daycare. As Jerry's trying to figure out the daycare, he's distracted by a Beth mascot. Now, what was Rick and Morty up to? Oh, yes, okay. So Rick finally catches up to Morty, who went to rescue this Cloud character, who they end up naming Fart. Fart shows Morty's the answers to the universe, and all that is good. However, this is one of the best endings to an episode.
Do you have 5126? I'm not sure. Morty. That's a Blips and Chits ticket. What? Way to go, Morty. Whatever.
Wait, what?
All right, come on, Jerry.
Number 6! Oh yeah, it's time to get swifty. You know what it is, the one with the big giant head. Show me what you got. Oh yeah, we all love this episode. Made one of the greatest ringtones of all time. So in this episode, a big giant head comes down to Earth. In true Rick and Morty fashion, they take off to see the president, only to have a discussion of what can be done. As the office is having a disagreement between everyone, Rick finally pops in. Explaining to them that the big giant heads are there for music, they decide to gather up all their greatest artists, only to discover that they're all dead. So what is to be done? The only thing that can be done. Let the smartest man in the universe make a song.
Okay, all right,
Oh yeah, you gotta get swifty. You gotta get swifty in here. It's time to get swifty in here. I'm Mr. Bull.
I like what you got. Good job.
So with the victory being done, they actually come to find out that they're on a reality show against different planets that are singing called Planet Music. And for each team that doesn't perform the best, their planet is destroyed. This puts the pressure on every planet. Oh, by the way, Mr. T shows up, but shows that he doesn't give a fuck and takes off. Everybody turns on religious leaders, the giant heads are mad, and the world is going to be destroyed with the president, and everyone's in a panic. What will happen? Number 5. We open up into a hospital, an alien hospital for that matter, and Jerry's just sick as a mutant on rabies. But lo and behold, that's not the main point of this story. It's also the fact that it's interdimensional television too! Booty, 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 booty. Well, you get the idea. So yeah, they're watching their interdimensional shows again with all the crazy ad-libbing. But instead of interdimensional life watching, it seems Jerry's penis is the perfect match for some kind of emperor of the universe's heart. Jerry, not comfortable with this decision, has decided, oh wait, more random TV shows, that's right. It is just chaotic with the shows. So, Jerry needs Beth to help him make a decision. Going into the room, they explain to Beth what the problem is, and he has asked Beth to make a decision. Beth is not happy about the decision at first, but is explained that he will get a prosthetic penis. And of course, Beth changes her mind. With Jerry recovering from everything, the family moves on. Number 4. It's time to get vindicated. Yes, that's right, it's the Vindicators episode. What a great episode this was. And let's be honest, the timing couldn't have been better. Anyways, after a disagreement, Rick and Morty finally get up to the space station where we meet all sorts of kooky characters. Rick, of course, gets totally smashed the night before and is under recovery. Having his special techniques needed, the team finally wakes him up, and here's what happens, I guess you could say. There's only one slight issue. It seems too easy for the team to get through. Well, it turns out that the evil emperor is already dead, and it was Rick who set this whole thing up to prove a point to the Vindicators. Or so we thought. It seems it was actually for another character, and you'll have to watch the episode to see who he was so emotional about. With all the other Vindicators dead, Galactica, or whatever her name is, decides to destroy Rick and Morty, only to be destroyed herself. And then, in true Rick fashion, he throws one kick-ass party. Number 3. Number 3 is an interesting one because it's not really based on Rick and Morty themselves, where it's based on Rick and Morty and the Citadel, and it's re-rising. Here we cut to a world where it's all Rick and Morty's. Now, there's a lot going on in this episode. There's a training day parody. There's a Stand By Me parody. There's just so much going on in this that I can't focus on one thing, so I'll focus on the evil Morty. Right, see, look, there's even a disgruntled worker. Like, there's just so much going on in this episode. But of course, when evil Morty is almost assassinated, this pushes him through as president, as you could believe. And needless to say that this episode leaves us on an eerie cliffhanger. Oh, and to wrap up the disgruntled worker, as he's walking away, they shoot him dead. Campaign Morty finds out that evil Morty became president and tries to warn them, only for it to be too late. And like I said, eerie cliffhanger. Number 2. Morty's Mom blowers. Yep, it starts off with Morty and Rick running away from somebody. Some people believe it's a Sandman. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It turns out Morty looks inside the turtle's eyes and he learns everything. Not being able to cope, Rick tells him about his mind-wiping machine. It's another episode where way too much happens, so I won't go into detail, but they have a scuffle which wipes out both their memories, which is obviously not a good situation, and as they go through more memories, Morty decides he's going to kill himself because it's not worth it. Just as Morty's about to pull the trigger, Summer comes in and saves the day and pulls out Scenario 4 in case this ever happened. One thing I like about Rick is he's always prepared. He always seems to have a plan just in case, and that's why I enjoy this show. Alright, so back to this. Summer restores Rick and Morty's memory and puts them on the couch, only to be bitched at. And then they continue on their Rick and Morty adventures. And the number 1 pick is, yeah, that's right, you got it. The one, the only, Pickle Rick! Yep. So the family's supposed to go to a therapy session, but Rick turns himself into a pickle, which backfires on him because the family cat, which I don't know where it came from, knocks him out to the floor, which rolls him down into the sewer. While down the sewer, he rigs himself up a temporary suit to get out of the sewer. Well, he then comes up with another plan to make himself the official Pickle Rick. After wiping out all the rats, he suits himself up and takes off out through the toilet. Well, the only problem is he comes into some kind of foreign embassy. They try to make negotiations, but Pickle Rick refuses, and this epic battle between Jaguar and Pickle Rick happens. After blowing up the embassy, Jaguar and Pickle Rick escape. Finally joining his family, Pickle Rick finally admits to the family. Oh, that's right, because they were in therapy. That's right, the whole time. They were talking about huffing pain and pissing their pants. Again, Pickle Rick comes in and then confesses that he doesn't like therapy and everything, and the family's great. Beth gives him back the serum, and he's back to regular old Rick. Alright, so that was Johnny's top 12 episodes of Rick and Morty that he enjoyed. These are my own personal selections. I hope if you've never watched the show, this encourages you to watch the show. If you have watched the show, comment below what I've missed. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm also on Instagram, That Johnny Arcade. If you are a Rick and Morty fan, check out my Facebook page, Total Swiftheads. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Mop, mop, mop.